Hi, everybody. I want to continue giving you some food for thought from the Bible and talk to you today about the fact that the Bible states that God is not the author of confusion, but of peace. And according to 1 Corinthians 14:33, it states, "For God is not the author of confusion, but of peace, as in all churches of the saints." Now, from this verse, it logically follows that in all churches of the saints, there is peace. And that in all churches of the saints, there is no confusion. I will repeat, 1 Corinthians 14:33. For God is not the author of confusion, but of peace, as in all churches of the saints. Where it says all, it does not make any exception, and it does not exclude any church of the saints. So, to repeat, in all churches of the saints, without exception, there is peace, there is absolutely no confusion, and God is definitely not the author of confusion. Moreover, it seems here that confusion and peace are juxtaposed as if peace is the opposite of confusion and confusion is the opposite of peace, which it is not. In James chapter 2, verses 18 to 20, I want to read to you. But someone will say, "You have faith and I have deeds. Show me your faith without deeds, and I will show you my faith by my deeds. You believe that God is one. Good for you. Even the demons or the devils believe that and shudder or tremble. O foolish man, do you want evidence that faith without deeds is worthless? I repeat, you foolish man. Do you know that faith without deeds is absolutely and totally worthless?" Now, let's go to 1 John 5 and onwards, talking about faith in the incarnate Son of God. Everyone who believes that Jesus is Christ is born of God. And everyone who loves the Father loves his child as well. Now let's go to the first part of that verse first. So, here it says that everyone who believes that Jesus is Christ is born of God. But according to James, it serves you no purpose to be born of God. In other words, it's absolutely futile, useless to be born of God if you don't have deeds, or if you're without deeds. And it continues, everyone who loves the Father loves his child as well. I would say not necessarily. And everyone who loves the child and loves the Father, not necessarily. These are not connected in any way. But maybe he only means who loves God the Father should and must and ought to love his child as well. But this is subject to interpretation, and I don't know. It's confusing, and we know that God is not the author of confusion. Here, the words Father and child are not put in capital letters. They don't start with a capital letter, Father. So it probably refers to any average, ordinary, earthly human being, father and child. This is how we know that we love the children of God, by loving God and carrying out his commands. In fact, this is love of God, to keep his commands. Now, this is confusing. First, it says that that's how we know that we love the children of God. I don't understand this. Why by loving God first and carrying out his commands. And then it says that loving God means keeping his commands. So by keeping his commands, you automatically are supposed to love God. But if you love God in your heart, if you really love God, then and fail to keep any of his 613 commands, that means you do not love God. That's like, I love my father and my mother, but sometimes they may tell me something, do something, this and that, and I won't do it because I don't feel like it, or I don't have the time, or I don't think that it's necessary. And that by making a deduction based on reasonable conclusion, then you conclude that you do not, or I do not, in my particular case, love my father or my mother or my parents, just because I failed to do something they told me to do. This automatically means you do not love your father and mother. And in the case of God and the Bible, you are automatically doomed and destined for eternal torture in hell. Now it says for everyone here in verse 4, 1 John 5:4, for everyone born of God overcomes the world. But if you're born of God and don't have deeds, it's worthless, and then you're destined for hell. This is a logical conclusion based on comparison between the two verses. So you can overcome the world without deeds. And even if you do that, that'll be worthless. This also automatically means that, because James states that the devils or the demons believe in God as well, they are born of God. This is a logical conclusion. And then if they're born of God, then they can overcome this world. Maybe, I don't know, they will be saved. His commands are not burdensome. This is contrary to what Paul says, that nobody has been able to and has kept God's commands. Everybody born of God overcomes the world, even if they don't have deeds. This is the victory that has overcome the world, even our faith. So our faith has overcome the world, but it doesn't mention anything about deeds. But we understand from James 2:20 that, "O foolish man, do you want evidence that faith without deeds is worthless and will not get you to heaven? So you must have deeds." And actually, it logically follows that you're actually saved by your deeds. I'd like to revert again to the verse, "For God is not the author of confusion, but of," not confusion, "as in all churches of the saints." I am very, very, very confused. I have been confused, as a matter of fact, for the last 30 years. And I have been very, very confused. And the more I kept reading the Bible, the more confused I got. The more Bible commentaries I read, even more confused I got. And the more Bible concordances, treatises, analysis, and other types of commentaries I read, the more and more confused I became and got, until I finally gave it up and unbelieved, because it's just beyond my imagination and comprehension. Apparently, I am such a fallen creature and such a fallen person that I am beyond understanding this Holy Spirit and this God who is not author of confusion, because for 30 years I have tried to understand some things. The more I tried to understand them, the less I understood them. The more questions I had, the less answers I got. The more reason I try to exercise in rational and critical thinking, the less reasonable and critical thinking types of answers I got, if I got any answers at all from God's people, pastors and similar. And so thank you very much for listening, and I'd like to hear your comments and opinion on that issue. And until the next time, bye.